Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is a sewing video. I've done some more sewing. So I have had quite a good run with making really cute little outfits for my son, and the sewing actually coming out looking really good. I mean, I was using fairly simple patterns, but it was going really well. So I decided to do something for myself because I haven't sewn for me for a while, or it doesn't feel like I've sewn for me for a while. And it hasn't gone as well. I mean, it's just a more time-consuming project, and after the kids stuff was so quick but also so successful, and that's really what I like. I'm so impatient that I just want to get the results and get the thing right away. I don't know, I just don't take the time to be as careful and as neat when I'm doing it for myself. It also takes a bit longer because, like, cutting out the fabric is just a bit harder because the fabric's just physically bigger and it's a bit harder to fit on the table. And I don't know, it just hasn't worked out as well. I used this pattern. I kind of went through a bunch of my patterns, and I was going to make the Tilly and the Buttons Agnes top with this fabric that I got a while ago with that in mind, but I decided, because I've got 3 Agnes tops, although one I don't really wear very often, but I've already made it like a few times. I thought I would try again with my Wardrobe by Me wardrobe builder t-shirt. So it has like a bunch of different options. So you've got 4 different sleeve lengths. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different necklines. Well, you've got 5 different sleeves, I suppose, because you've got sleeveless as an option as well. 4 different necklines, and then you've got 2 different lengths, and you've got a different, you could do like a curved hem on the waist or a straight one. So I think it did say something like there's 90 different options when you take into account all the different options that you've got. I used this before, made a couple of tops, neither of which came out great, to be honest. One of them, the fabric was just a bit too lightweight and thin, and also the top came out super long. Like, this pattern just, it comes out really long. And then the other one that I made, I think I made, maybe I've only made this once. I honestly can't even remember. My pattern's got a bit of a mess. I was trying to sort them out the other day and got really confused. But yeah, it wasn't totally successful the last time I used it, I know that anyway, but I decided to try again because I bought it, and I bought it with the idea of, like, there's lots of different options, so it'd be quite a good one to have. It's also fairly simple construction. I just find that the instructions are just a bit too brief for me. All the different like, you follow the same instructions for the different views of the t-shirt, which is a little bit confusing, and so is when you cut out the pattern. But it's things like, you know, you start off with step 1 by sewing the shoulder seams together, and then if you're doing the boat neck, you skip to step 4, but if you're not, then you go to step 2. And so there's a lot of that where you're skipping around steps, and I don't know, it's not that hard. I just think that the instructions could definitely be clearer for me. But I was having real problems sewing this fabric. So this is a jersey. I can't remember the details. I'll have to put it in like a little text thing. It's really nice, like, sort of sage green colour. I mean, it's not as bright as I would normally go for. I do quite like my bright colours, but I just wanted to go for something that wasn't pink because I have so much pink at this point in my wardrobe. But I kind of wish I'd gone maybe a bit brighter. But I like the kind of softness of it. And it also has the holes in it. I'm sure that's, you know, how you would describe that technically. And it's nice. It feels soft. It doesn't feel super lightweight. There's like it's, I don't know, it feels like snug in a weird way, which also makes this a bit, when I'm like holding it and wearing it, it feels like it would be a warm t-shirt, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I did the v-neck, and then the kind of like just short sleeves, and then I did the straight waist, and I made the waist shorter because it was so long last time. And then there's a neckband, and there was also cuffs, but I had real problems sewing this fabric. It was just stretching, I think, is the problem. I didn't use my walking foot, I didn't use my jersey needles. I realised later on, halfway through the project, that I should have done, and that might have made it easier. Like I said, I just rush, and I didn't use any of that stuff when I was sewing the jersey for my son, but that just sewed so easily. And this is just, I guess, a different nature of fabric. Yeah, I think it all stretched, and when I was doing like attaching the arm cuffs, I like ironed them first, and I think ironing it really stretched it out, and they looked super ridiculous. When I was wearing them, they looked like they had sort of like bell sleeves almost that were all then crinkly, but that wasn't the design, and so it just looked really messy and just weird. I took those cuffs off, and it was so awkward to unpick them that I just chopped it. Didn't chop it in a very straight line, have then just turned over the edges and just sewed them with a straight stitch because the zigzag stitch was driving me nuts. And so they look really scruffy, and in fact that bit there is like coming undone. So it's just another one where it's like really messily sewn, and I'm kicking myself for it because it just feels like a bit of a waste. It's wearable and it fits. I think it looks quite big, but I am used to stuff being quite tight, but when I put it on, the fit was actually absolutely fine, so that's not really a problem. It's just the construction, it's just my sewing, it's just also like finishing off all of the seams and stuff. I mean, you don't really need to with jersey because it won't fray, but it just looks scruffy inside, and there's no real instructions I could see on how to finish them off. I do think it's a problem of like I don't have an overlocker, and I think a lot of patterns just make an assumption that you do, and they use very small seam allowances, which was another problem I have with the pattern. And to be honest with you, given the fit, I could probably have just used a bigger seam allowance and it wouldn't have really been a problem, but the small seam allowance with a zigzag stitch sewing jersey that is stretching around, I just found that really challenging, and so the fabric just kept moving and being pulled around as I was sewing it, and so none of my lines are straight. It was frustrating. I'm still not super loving sewing jersey, but then like I said, when I was sewing stuff for my son, that fabric was so easy to sew through. It was no problem whatsoever. So I don't get it. Obviously they're just different types of fabric, but yeah, maybe I need to go back to woven fabrics for a while. Anyway, that is my sewing update. Not super successful, but I did construct a garment. And I can wear said garment, and who's really gonna notice? If you liked the video, give me a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe.